All right, guys, in this video, we're going to get to Newton's third law in a minute, but before we do, I wanted to think about a particular case of a free body diagram, and I'd like to think about this situation right here. So this is just going to be a free body diagram, and FBD for this situation, which is a block that is at rest, let's say. It doesn't have to be at rest, but let's imagine it's in a balanced force situation, so it's not accelerating. But we could imagine that it's at rest for simplicity's sake on a ramp. So that's the situation that we've got right here. We've got a block at rest on a ramp, and I want to think about the what the forces are on this. And before I actually go ahead and draw the free body diagram, I'm actually just going to draw the force arrows. I think I'll just draw the force arrows right on this picture. So let's start with maybe the force of gravity. So where does gravity act in this picture? Well, gravity acts from the center of the object. We don't know that yet, but we think of the center of gravity as being where gravity acts. It's the middle of the object, and it's going to pull straight down towards the center of Earth. Gravity always acts straight down. So that's the force of gravity, which again, we abbreviate mg. So that's one force. What else is there? Well, there's got to be a normal force. So there has to be a force on this block from the surface. And again, remember, the normal force has to be perpendicular to the surface. And since the surface is here, perpendicular to the surface is something like this. So I'm going to draw the normal force like so, perpendicular to the surface. So this arrow should be perpendicular to the surface. Now, you might ask yourself, is that it? I've got the surface pushing on the block, I've got gravity pulling it down. It should be, I hope it's clear to you here, that if this were the end of the story, this object would in fact be accelerating, and the acceleration would be down the ramp. And since in this situation, we were told it's at rest, that means the acceleration is 0. So this can't be the end of the picture. So I want to, before we get into the details of what this, what other force has to be present, you probably already know what it is, but I want to go ahead and actually think about this force here, gravity. Think about gravity. Well, there are two components of gravity, right? I could think of this arrow here, the arrow for gravity. I could imagine that this is the hypotenuse of a triangle, where I could say that there's a component, a piece of gravity that's acting perpendicular to the ramp like this, and a component of gravity acting parallel to the ramp. So this is the perpendicular component, and I might choose to call this, if I like, the y component, or perpendicular component. And then here's another component, perpendicular, which is the x component. So essentially what I'm imagining is like a new xy axis where like x is this way and y is this way. I've just sort of rotated the coordinate axes like this. And so now you can see that mg, the weight, the force of gravity, is the hypotenuse of this triangle. So now I've got these components. And what you might notice, or what may be obvious to you, is that this component right here has to be equal to the normal force. And the reason for that is that I know that A in the y direction is 0. In other words, the acceleration perpendicular to the ramp is 0. This block is not going to come flying off the ramp, and it's not going to go into the ramp. It's going to have an acceleration in this direction, which I'm calling the y direction, has to be 0. So those two components have to cancel each other out. By the same logic, AX has to be 0, right? There can't be any acceleration down the ramp or up the ramp if this thing is in fact in a balanced force situation, if it's not accelerating. And so that means that there has to be some other force out there. There's got to be some force to cancel the x component of gravity. So if the x component of gravity is this way down the ramp, then I need to have another force that's up the ramp here, such that this force here is equal to the x component. So again, I'm imagining there are different forces here that are canceling the x and y components of gravity. The normal force cancels the y component, and this force here cancels the x component. This force, of course, is friction. F for friction. There's some stickiness here between the block and the ramp that's preventing the block from sliding down the ramp. Now, how do we split? How do we take mg? Let's imagine, maybe just for simplicity's sake, I could imagine that mg in this particular situation, let's imagine mg is 50 newtons. I might want to know, well, how much of that 50 newtons is in the y direction and how much of the 50 newtons is in the x direction. And to do that, first I'm just going to try to clean this up a little bit. Clean up the picture a little bit. How could I figure out how much of this 50 newtons, if that's my hypotenuse, if 50 newtons, try to be a little neater, if 50 is the hypotenuse, in this picture, what are the legs of the triangle equal? And to figure that out, I need an angle. So for instance, if I could figure out what this angle is right here, then I could use my SOHCAHTOA to figure out what the components are. But I need to know what this angle is. And it turns out that this angle here, the way I've drawn this picture, will always be equal to the angle of the ramp above the horizontal. That's something that I can prove to you geometrically, and I'm happy to, but I'm not going to do it right now in this video. But suffice it to say that whatever the angle of the ramp is above horizontal, that's also this angle right here, the angle between the y component of gravity and the gravity arrow itself, as drawn. So let's imagine, for our sake, that this is 30 degrees. That means this angle here is 30 degrees. So my x component is going to be 50 times cosine of 30. That comes from adjacent and hypotenuse. And the y component, or the component down the ramp, the x component, the component down the ramp, is going to be 50 sine 30. That comes from the part of SOHCAHTOA. And we can use our calculator, figure out exactly what these forces are. These kinds of two-dimensional systems like ramps come up fairly frequently, so I just wanted to take a look at this special case of an FBD. Now, maybe I should close by noting, what would this look like on an FBD? Well, the FBD itself should only contain the following arrows. If I draw my dot, that's how I do the FBD. The only arrows we should have here, gravity straight down, normal force perpendicular, and friction up the ramp. So that would be what ultimately the free body diagram would look like. You don't draw components on a free body diagram, but it is important that you understand the geometry so that in problems we could go ahead and actually calculate out the magnitudes of these forces by recognizing, as we noted before, what the normal force and the friction force are going to be equal to, which components of mg they will be equal to. So I hope that's helpful. Now the real focus of this video, and it won't take too long, is Newton's third law. And let me make that a little bit smaller for us here. Newton's third law, which I'm going to abbreviate N3L, Newton's third law. I'm just going to kind of briefly state it for us, and in the course of some problems, you'll I think see the implications. Earlier in one of the videos, I'd mentioned that if we imagine that we've got like some like floor here, and you could imagine that you're here and you're going for a run. Let's say that's you're going for a run, and you might imagine asking yourself, all right, well, if I go for a run, what is the force that pushes me forward? What is this force on me, and where does it come from? Now, most people, I think, out there in the world imagine that if they go for a run or if they walk or swim or anything, that they are, in a sense, pushing themselves forward. Which, if you think about it carefully, really doesn't make any sense at all, because if I look at myself, if I look at me here, there is no part of me that is pushing on me. I'm pushing on the ground. the reason I go forward, the force on me actually comes from the ground itself. And this gets to Newton's third law. And maybe I'll state the third law, and then we can come back to this example. The third law, sometimes this is called the action-reaction principle. The third law, if I were to write it out, would look something like this. Anytime one object exerts a force on a second object, the second exerts an equal force back on the first. And the key words here, I think, if I were to highlight some key words, the second object exerts an equal force back. That gives me both magnitude and direction for this force. I could write this out if I wanted to in equation form the following way. I could say that the force of object 1 on object 2 is going to be equal to the negative of the force of object 2 on object 1. That would be what this would look like in an equation form. Now, this equation isn't really all that helpful. You won't find yourself like writing this equation out. This is just sort of a more succinct way of stating this long sentence. Anytime one object exerts a force on a second, the second exerts an equal force back on the first. Sometimes, again, this is known as the action-reaction principle in physics. So let's go back to this example. Well, what's happening here? Well, if I kind of broke this down a little bit, and maybe I'll actually go ahead and erase this arrow here. Let's get rid of that arrow. Oh, I didn't mean to erase my body. So if I imagine here, so here you are going for your run. Where are the forces happening? Well, the forces are happening right here, right? Your foot pushes on the ground. Your foot here is pushing back on the ground. I'm going to increase the size. Your foot is pushing on the ground. I'm going to call that F1 on 2. That's the force of you pushing on the ground. You are pushing the earth backward. That's what you're doing. You don't notice the earth going backwards because the earth is huge, but you are pushing the earth backwards. In response to that, the earth pushes you with an equal force forward. That's F2 on 1. These forces have to be equal. You push on earth, earth pushes on you. So the sort of physically precise way of saying, well, what happens when you go for a run is the earth is pushing you forward. The earth is the thing that's pushing you forward. You push on the earth pushes on you. So these are, I would say that these two forces, as I've indicated, are an action. Hold on. These are an action-reaction pair. And you could come up with lots of these. Forces always come in pairs. So anytime you see one force, there's got to be another one. So if you go swimming, you push on the water pushes on you. If you jump in the air, you push on the earth pushes you up. If I got really mad and I punched a wall, right? If in a fit of anger, here's the wall. If I come in here with my fist and I punch the wall because I'm angry, if I punch it hard enough, I'm going to break my hand, because if I'm exerting a force on the wall is exerting an equal force back on me. And the bigger the force I exert on the wall, the more force the wall is going to exert on me. And eventually, if those forces get big enough, the wall will break my hand. This is a quick introduction to Newton's third law. Again, the key here is that forces always come in pairs. They are always equal in magnitude and opposite in direction.